I am starting off this Tuesday morning with stripping my bed and getting my laundry started. And if you've been around my channel for any time at all, then you will wonder why I'm doing laundry on Tuesday, because Monday is my laundry day. But we actually very last minute went to Calgary on Monday and went to IKEA and did a few other things. And if you saw that lamp at the beginning of my video, I finally got the lamp that I have been wanting since we redid our living room, and I am just so excited for especially this fall for just cozying up the space a little bit. But we also got something super exciting that I was not expecting to come out of IKEA with. Like I said, we went in for a lamp, and I also had some returns to do, and there was a kitchen island that I had been eyeing for quite some time. I had already done all the measuring to see if it would fit in our kitchen, to make sure all the doors and the dishwasher and oven would fit, and it would have. So my husband looked at it and he's like, yep, it's sturdy, let's get it. And I was shocked. So we brought it home, and isn't it so beautiful? Like, it just completes my kitchen. I'm so excited for the work surface as well. It has some shelves on the one side to kind of use as storage, but very excited about that. But today I have quite a few projects to do in the kitchen again. I had got some apples from my mother-in-law's apple tree. I had done apple pie filling with her a few weeks ago, and one of my sister-in-laws was talking about making apple juice, and so I decided to make some as well, and they had plenty of apples, so I was gonna make apple juice. And I am covering my island because it is not sealed at this point yet, and I did not want to risk ruining the butcher block top, and so I'm just putting a tablecloth on top. And I started on my apples, and then I realized my other project, which is making some sort of pickles, would take way longer, and so I decided to just put the apples aside for now and get started on chopping my vegetables for we call them Zanf pickles, which is a mustard pickle. Some people call them just cauliflower pickles because there is cauliflower in them. I make these every single year, and we eat them with kjolke, which is like an egg noodle with a cream gravy on top, and they're just so good. So I'm just chopping up all the vegetables for that. I will have the recipe in the description box below, but all you will need is a red bell pepper, a green bell pepper, an onion, cauliflower, cucumbers, carrots, and I believe that is all the vegetables. And then you need to add mustard and turmeric as well. So I just chop mine up pretty finely, just bite-sized pieces, and then I just add salt to that. You'll mix it up and put a lid on it, stick it in the fridge, and you'll want let that sit for at least an hour. I ended up letting mine sit for 3 hours. And then I was able to move back over to my apples. And so for this apple juice recipe, it was so easy. All I had to do was take off the stem and the blossom end, and then just really rough chop them and stick them in my Instant Pot. You do not need to peel them. I kind of cut off any bad bruising or potential wormholes, and then you'll just throw everything in your Instant Pot, put water on top of it, and let it cook for 6 minutes. So once it has been cooked, you'll want to depressurize your Instant Pot. I always put some sort of towel over top of it just so that the steam doesn't like go everywhere. And then I just put a cheesecloth over top of a strainer over top of a pot and poured that into there. And then this step is very important. You do not want to squish your cheesecloth at all. You just want to let this drain for an hour. or else you'll get really cloudy juice. So once that's strained for an hour, I just went ahead and poured it into my jars. I didn't do it here, but I did end up adding a little bit of honey later on just because these apples were quite sour and the juice was very tart. You can can this, but I feel like we're gonna drink it pretty quickly, so I just stuck it in the fridge. And then moving back over to my pickles, I wanted to get my brine ready, and so I added vinegar, sugar, ground mustard, and turmeric into a pot, and I'm just letting that heat up while I prep my jars. So you'll want to drain off all of the liquid from your vegetables, and then I had already sanitized my jars, and you'll just want to cold pack it. Just fill your jars until they have a little, like at least an inch of headspace. Then you scoop your brine into your jars, and I grabbed a paper towel once I was done and stuck it in a little bit of vinegar and just wiped the tops of all of my jars to make sure they were clean. Put all of my seals and rings on to close them up, and I had a pot of hot water going in the back to water bath can them, and I can't quite remember off the top of my head how long you want to cook them for, but like I said earlier, the full recipe will be in the description. And I was invited to a kind of a splash park trip with some of my sisters very last minute, and so while Roman was napping, I was just finishing up all the kitchen projects, and then I packed our bag, just put some snacks and his swimsuit and some water bottles in there, and as soon as Roman was up, we headed out the door, and we had so much fun. Now that we are back home, I did change my outfit earlier just because I smelled like vinegar and I didn't want to go out and hang out with my sisters smelling like vinegar. So this is the same day, just a new dress, and I am making supper here. I have not had enough tomatoes to do any tomato canning yet this year, and I usually make my own spaghetti sauce, and so I just decided to kind of make a really small, like single batch of spaghetti sauce. It ended up failing. It was fine. We ate it, but I added way too much sugar, and so I'm not going to recommend this recipe, but the idea of it was really fun. I actually kind of enjoyed as you know, my meat was cooking and my noodles were cooking, me kind of like making a sauce from scratch. I felt very Ma Ingalls. It was kind of fun. My husband was not home again for this evening. He has been putting in some long hours at work lately with it just being harvest and him having to go on call on the road this year. This is his first year on the road, and so it's been a little bit of an adjustment. It's not full time that he's on the road. They do take turns with the phone, but it's definitely been a little bit hard with not having him around as often as I'm used to. And then I just decided to cut up some cucumbers for this. I forgot to mention earlier, all of my cucumbers came from my mother-in-law as well. We had been there on Sunday and she gave me a giant box of apples and a big bag of cucumbers, and so I'm just slicing a few extra to go with our spaghetti. And we had an avocado that needed to be used up as well. And now I'm getting around to sealing my countertop. I am using tung oil. Some people say it's not good to use this, but I'm not going to be using this as a cutting board. I'll always actually still use a cutting board, so I think this will be just fine. And I ended up doing a coat this evening, and let it dry overnight, and then I did a second coat the next morning, and I think it will hold up really well. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I really enjoyed taking you along on my homemaking day today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys next week.